Well, when there's a little bit of despair in the market, you're going to have some savvier investors out there making some lowball offers because they know people are in trouble. And so it's, I
Yeah.
mean, not to be malicious, but it's just business. And so they're going to use whatever advantages they have to try to negotiate some really decent or obscenely low prices, I would say, in certain situations. So
Yeah.
there's definitely an uptick in activity on the investor side. People are looking for bargains. And when people are in distress, they sometimes will just, bend the knee, so to speak, just because of
Yeah.
the
Just to get rid of
circumstances.
it.
So,
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to do this week, given the drop in rates last week and then the rebound in rates this week with conventional, is I wanted to check in with our DSCR lenders, right? The folks that have come here, they work with investors. They offer things like 90% combined loan to value. They offer fix and flip loans. All of these folks. I am curious, did the DSCR world shut down? Did they get scared? Did they get nervous? Did they just exit stage left? We're going to have a conversation with Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage. But Stephen, before you answer that question, please give us the marketing spiel so we don't get in trouble.
Thank you again for remembering. Although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. In regards to the DSCR market, I guess, we're not that impacted because as it pertains to non-owner residential properties, my loan is actually a no DSCR loan. So there was really no impact with us whatsoever as far as pricing, with all the ebb and flows and all the peaks and valleys. That's been somewhat of a roller coaster ride. And if you started with the loan and you didn't lock right away, you're probably having a heart attack, and all of a sudden, oh, things are good, and then now they're bad again. So it's definitely a volatile situation here. But with us, we don't normally have a knee-jerk reaction to the bond market. So our rates have been pretty steady.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about Velocity, right? First and foremost, they're publicly traded, so you can go look them up. But again, you've been doing this a long time. You've been there 11 years. They've been around longer than that. And I expected it from you. Like, nope, Mike, nothing changed for me. Yeah, other than a couple of buddies of mine who do conventional loans, they're crazy, pulling their hair out. You're just steady Eddie. That's kind of what I expected, but I'm glad I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of sitting there with my popcorn, kind of seeing what's going on, and it's been kind of fun to see all the reactions and stuff like that. But yeah, I can only imagine being a conventional loan, or I should say, a loan professional doing conventional loans right now is going to be somewhat.
When you were having your barbecue over the weekend, if you were a conventional LO, you would have bet big money that rates would not touch 7% by Wednesday.
Right.
And they did. They hit 7% by Wednesday.
It can happen fast, man. On the conventional side, lenders get real nervous if there's a trend heading the wrong way. They're going to hedge their bets already and be like, hey, we know where this is headed and we don't want to get hurt by being too conservative. So, yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride for sure.
Yeah, but when I go back to Velocity Mortgage, again, back to you guys, stick to your knitting. You do this 90% CLTV. We often call it the 50-40-10 loan.
Right.
You're doing investor only, not owner-occ, so you kind of remove yourself from that chaos.
Right.
And I actually think that 2025 is going to be the year of the investor. I did a couple of conferences in the last 10 days, and that was my thesis, was 2025 is the year of the investor. Because frankly, we don't care about the cost of capital. As long as the cost of capital is about even for everyone, it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 22. We're going to go in and write deals that make sense day one.
Right.
And that's why it's nice having a partner like Velocity who's steady Eddie, so you can write your loans. You know roughly what it's going to be. So what's going on in your world? I'm guessing investors are getting more and more, I don't know, busy, greedy. I don't know what the right word is. I'm guessing investors are more active.
You would be right. We're definitely seeing an uptick in business for sure. Since basically the inauguration for many of us, it's been pretty much nonstop, at least for me personally, but I can see internally as far as our numbers, we're well ahead of last year's levels, and last year was like our record high, so in company history. So we're well on our way to even break that this year by a good chunk.
Which is wild to think about, because you and I have been doing this so long that I remember 2020 and 2021.
Right.
being amazing years. And to think that's why I think 2025 is going to be the year of the investors, dude, because we're going to be the only people shopping.
Right.
We're going to be
I,
the only people shopping, and that means we get to create the deals.
well, when there's a little bit of despair in the market, you're going to have some savvier investors out there making some lowball offers because they know people are in trouble. And so it's, I
Yeah.
mean, not to be malicious, but it's just business, and so they're going to use whatever advantages they have to try to negotiate some really decent or obscenely low prices, I would say, in certain situations. So
Yeah.
there's definitely an uptick in activity on the investor side. People are looking for bargains, and when people are in distress, they sometimes will just bend the knee, so to speak, just because of
Yeah.
the
Just to get rid of
circumstances.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so for sure, that we've been seeing a lot of. I've been seeing a lot of commercial as well.
I like to hear that because that's what I think is coming for my community. I think a lot of people go to Velocity kind of onesie twosies, but
Mhm.
where we're really going to move the needle is when somebody locks up a multifamily or a mixed use building for several $1,000,000 and they do a 50-40-10, right? Because you can get into a multifamily at a great price with 10% down,
Yep.
40% owner carry. The
Yep.
seller walks away with 60%, tax
Mhm.
savings, income, all of that stuff. That's where I know that our weekly conversations are going to be meaningful. Because I know there's a couple of guys in my community writing 50-40-10s on apartments. No one's taken it yet, but it's coming. It will eventually break.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of wondering when things are gonna change a little bit as far as the sentiment. But at this point, I mean, there's just people like you said, 2025 is the year of the investor for sure.
Yeah.
If there was ever like a Chinese New Year kind of horoscope, the
Yeah.
year of the investor.
Yeah. Like the rat, what rat, horse,
You're
ox,
the
whatever.
dragon. Yeah, so this year is the year of the
Or the
investor.
dragon.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, people are really gravitating to that 90% CLTV to
Oh
use that
yeah.
as a kind of a creative tool, especially in this current market. And if rates kind of start to head the wrong way for a certain period of time, I think that 50-40-10 is going to come in more handy because again, when you can kind of shift around the leverage position
Yep.
and have that blended rate work for you to give you that
Yeah.
lower overall payment.
The 50-40-10 is such a magical thing. And I hope people call you if they don't know what it is, or they go to your playlist and watch all the videos. But it's really a way a buyer and seller can find a win-win situation. You could give the seller a little bit more money.
Mm-hmm.
The seller can allow you to establish a below market interest rate, and you get stupid leverage as you're only putting 10% down.
Right.
I mean, this I wish I had this back in 2013, 14 when I was, because this is the deal, folks. In 2014, I had to write stupid low cash offers, and we got a few. If I would have had, stupid low cash offers, the 50-40-10, I know with certainty we would have gotten 5 or 6 more, because some sellers were just, can't sell it at that number. Try again.
Right.
If I would have had the 50-40-10, we would have found a way to buy another 50 to 80 units.
Right. No, the 90% CLTV option's been around for quite some time, at least with our company. It just hasn't been very relevant up until this point.
Right.
So yeah, I'm definitely starting to see an uptick in interest, even from last year, to be honest with you. It's just sometimes the numbers just don't quite math out just yet. And so either sellers got to come down on their price or
rate,
the terms of their second, or so it's a combination of different things. But I'm definitely seeing a lot more people inquiring because again, it could work. It's just you got to crunch the numbers and find out. So I'm more than happy to do that. Just reach out to me in that email below, and we can kind of have a more meaningful conversation and take it from there.
Yeah, folks, if you are a real estate investor, even if you have a lender, you need to first off get Stephen Dow as a plan B. We've seen plenty of lenders pull out, change terms, all of that. Never do real estate without a plan B. Stephen Dow is that plan B, Velocity Mortgage. And if you want to really get talking about a 50-40-10, you want to calculate blended interest rate, you want to do any of that heavy lifting, Stephen is there for you. SDow, D-A-O, so SDow at velocitymortgage.com. One favor, put ORaaT in the subject line so it gets through the firewall. And then what else do you want in the body of the email?
Maybe a brief description what they're looking for. Address would be super helpful. your mid-FICO score, and best phone number to reach you. And typically 24, 40 hours, I'll be in touch. This week's a little slower than usual. My assistant's out of town for about a week and a half. So if I don't get to you within 24 hours, I apologize. But I will definitely get back to you.
There you go. Thanks, buddy. Take care. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good weekend.